15-minute game with
I think it was slightly longer. I think
a
it was
little bit
like
longer?
22 minutes, but it was very, very short. Let's say that.
Yeah,
There was
so
a bit of a base race in it
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, a little bit. We definitely saw a very strong performance coming out from Scudsy in the jungle. That is definitely our player to look out for this game, certainly, because his early pressure, while might not be as impactful, coming into the mid game, his vision control is very strong, and his ability to invade and pretty much control the enemy jungler is very impressive indeed. So we will have to see whether or not he can continue that performance from yesterday. So we do have the bans coming out thick and fast. We have Rek'Sai, Ari, and Nidalee coming out from the side of Team Pariah, and Fizz, Thresh, and Kalista coming out from the side of Gaming in Motion. So fairly standard bans coming out from either side. Fizz a very targeted ban towards Flash. Last week we saw Flash have very impressive performances on champions like Fizz and Hecarim. Definitely that carry style top laner. Meanwhile, it's not surprising to see a Nidalee ban coming out from Team Pariah, as Scudsy had such a dominant performance in Game 1 yesterday.
And there we have it. The Spider is going to descend from her web. Flash going to be locking in that Elise for Nemesis. So Elise, a champion that we've seen a lot over the last couple, well, over yesterday and last weekend as well. Really, really strong jungler. As we've said, there's multiple builds you can go. There's multiple ways you can play this champion. And just since the item changes and the buffs to herself, she's just become such a staple pick for these guys.
Yeah, the changes to her spiderlings, meaning that they do magic damage, has basically made her a significantly stronger champion in the jungle. So obviously that will be a jungle Elise, definitely played by Nemesis this game. Those that might not recognise, he's decided to add jungle to his name from last week.
In case you were wondering where he was going to go.
Meanwhile, we do have Scudsy on that Lee Sin, so he did play Lee Sin yesterday. His early game was not as dominant as he was on Nidalee, but once he had completed his Sightstone, the pressure suddenly switched on for him.
Yeah.
He was always in the enemy jungle, always getting deep vision down, and he was all about that control. So I expect to see a similar performance coming out from Scudsy again.
Yeah, and I think the thing about Scudsy as well was not even necessarily that he single-handedly won the games or anything, but every single kill that happened, he was there. He was part of it, and he was really snowballing the rest of Gaming in Motion Black into that victory. And on the other side, we are going to see Sivir and Alistair locked in here for Pariah. So obviously, if you were watching last weekend, they were Pariah G then. They have changed their name to just Team Pariah now. So you're in the loop. They even have a logo. Check that out. It's over that way, over there. But there you go. You'll all be happy to see that one. But we are going to see the Corki locked in. So Alistair's ultimate will be slightly less effective with that armor shred.
Yeah, so we have seen a lot of Alistair this weekend. Very strong support in the current meta, something we've gone over many a times. As well as Sivir, both very strong bot lane. Definitely have that strong pushing power in terms of the laning phase, and coming into the mid game, the utility that On the Hunt provides, as well as the large amount of crowd control from Alistair, will definitely be impressive. So we also have, I forgot to mention, we have Bacon Piggy for the we did have yesterday Bacon Sizzle procs, and today we've got Cutie Bacon Piggy in that middle lane. So
Cutie Bacon Piggy was the winner of the Battle of the Bacon.
Yeah, the Battle of the Bacon
from last weekend.
They failed the quest though. They weren't able to kill each other, which was unfortunate.
He doesn't mind. He's still in the tournament.
Yeah, he still is in the tournament. Ooh,
shots fired, shots fired. But we're going to see a Zed locked in. This is one of my favourite champions to watch. Going to be going into the mid lane, and I haven't seen a Zed in ages. It's really, really just completely fallen out of the meta, and it feels like Gangplank right now, in all honesty, because they're both just dead in regards to the meta. But
wow,
we're gonna see Zed in the mid lane. Talk me through this, because it's been a pick that everyone's been avoiding for ages.
Because I don't. Zed is debatable. Zed is a very debatable champion. Like, sure, he's fun to play. You can do some cool stuff. I mean, he did, Faker made his name from Zed. That's what everyone knows Zed for.
As
but with the as did Ryu, and the changes to his ultimate. So for those that might not know, now there's a 1 second timer on his ultimate. So before, you could pop the ultimate and instantly dash to your shadow. So there were many outplays that you could make, but now there's a 1 second delay. And simply because of that, the number of outplay potentials is a lot harder, because Zed is going to appear behind you, which means that it's a lot easier to counterplay, and Zed can't do all of his flashy, dodgy stuff. So I mean, he's definitely still a viable mid laner. Again, it's the same as LeBlanc and Syndra that we saw yesterday. He's not a bad mid laner. It's just there are a lot of better ones.
Yeah.
And personally, I would argue that Victor's actually one of the better champions to go into Zed, purely because he's got very strong harass during the laning phase with his Siphon Strike, and that little shield that he gets does help when trading against Zed, but most importantly the gravity field. The best way to play Victor is by putting the gravity field on yourself, not trying to use it to slow people far away. It's to just protect yourself, and all you have to do against a Zed is put that gravity field down and Zed is literally screwed, because he's effectively stunning himself just so that he can auto-attack you, making his ultimate fairly redundant. So, personally, I guess it's got to be a comfort pick for Cutie Bacon Piggy. It's got to be something that he enjoys. Maybe he personally likes the matchup. Obviously, each to their own, as the saying goes. But, I've harped on enough about the mid lane. We need to run through the other picks. We did see a Renekton come out for keys, so we're going to have Flash on his Hecarim again, and we're going to have a Renekton versus Hecarim in the top lane. That'll be quite an interesting matchup, one that we don't see very often.
Honestly, they're kind of two champions that came from different metas altogether. Hecarim has been sort of king of the top lane for a little while, or at least was, and sort of just undeniably good up in that top lane. And the same can be said for Renekton about a year ago. He was just the pick in the top lane. So, however, they weren't ever really at the same time. You never really saw those two duke it out up in that top. So, I'm very interested to see how this matchup goes. Obviously, Renekton, well renowned for his incredibly strong early laning phase, and we'll have to see how the pony is going to do up against that crocodile.
Meanwhile, we did get a Shen locked in. Originally, we saw that locked in very early, and I thought that was just going to be a top lane Shen, but it does look like that they've moved that over to the support role, so we will see Pez playing that Shen this game along with Corki. Now, we have seen Shen a lot in the LCS, especially by Gravity. They do enjoy running the Shen support, and we did see it a few times coming out from TSM. Now, the thing about Shen support is you really have to optimize the way that his ultimate works, because it's not the same as a top lane Shen, in the sense that what you need to do is you need to use his ultimate at the start of a fight. It needs to be a form of engage. So you ultimate somebody like the Lee Sin, like the Renekton, and then you force the fight. So unless they use Shen in a similar way to that, they're not going to make the most out of that Shen support. So hopefully they've practiced it. Hopefully they're familiar with the strategy behind it. But we will see how that pans out for them.
The thing with the Shen support as well, I feel, is like it got kind of popular for a little while in NA, but that was kind of the only region that was regularly using it for a long time, and then even then it's sort of fallen off again, and it felt like there was a few players that saw the merit to it, but it never really quite caught on, and it just didn't seem to offer the same things that like an Alistair, like a Nautilus bring to the table.
Well, that is definitely true. I suppose it's just one of those preference picks. Some comps really, I mean, some teams really like the way that a Shen support works, whereas other teams might not, and so as I was saying, there is a rather specific way to play Shen support, so unless you can use that to your maximum advantage, unless it fits into your playstyle, it's not necessarily the best pick. But I'm looking forward to this game. These teams are fairly equally matched in terms of their individual elo, so I'm expecting a fairly intense game. I hope it's not as quick as yesterday's games were.
Well, the last best of three was not quick. The first one was. We kind of had the two opposite ends of the scale. In the first series, it was a really fast 2-0, but then the second best of three, we had two different 50-minute games, 50-minute slugfests, where Gaming Emotion Y were able to take the edge eventually. But heading into this game, it's going to be Ninja on Ninja, Shen and Zed both.
Oh yeah,
on
and then they're actually nemesis.
Nemesi? I don't know.
Which is ironic because their jungler is called Nemesis.
There you go. So that was all planned.
There is some lore somewhat. I don't know.
I don't know the lore to Shen and Zed, but I'm sure it's.
I know they don't like each other. TLDR.
The impression I get from the lore is that Zed doesn't like anyone.
He did have a dark and mysterious past, though.
Yeah. No, that was Urgot.
Are you sure? Wait, but I thought that was Shen.
That was everyone, I think. I think that's just all the lore is dark and mysterious pasts where something happened and nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Only time will tell.
Except we do know Gangplank, TFs, and anyway.
Well, Gangplank's dead. He doesn't have any lore anymore.
Yes, but he is
Rest
still viable in competitive play.
He is.
Yes.
I'm assuming you were on Reddit at some point recently as well.
Yes.
Saw the Monte Cristo
Very
thread.
opinionated. Anyway, moving on to the overall team compositions. We do have, we will do a run through of the comps when we jump into the actual game itself. But the aim of both teams is quite different because they do seem to have, from the side of Gaming in Motion, and this is Black, by the way, that we did mention it earlier, but just to remind people, this is Gaming in Motion Black, and their team composition is very team fight centered. They do have a Corki, very good mid game spike. Yep. They have a Victor, very good mid game spike. They have Lee Sin, good early mid game spike. Renekton, very good early mid game spike. So they're definitely going to be looking to contest these Drakes. They're going to be looking to fight over these objectives, these neutral objectives, maybe look to invade the blue, the red, and they're going to look to team fight as often as possible. Meanwhile, the other side, I mean, they sort of have a team fight comp as well, but it's more oriented towards split push. It's sort of what we saw yesterday with the Jax and the poke from the middle, where you have one split pushing and you group as 4, and that's sort of what they're going for on the side of Team Pariah. So their comp is a little bit harder to execute rather than just grouping up and pressing R, but we will see how well they're able to execute it.
We will have to see, as we are going to be heading on to Summoner's Rift for our first game of the day. Gaming in Motion Black versus Team Pariah. Team Pariah going to be starting off on the blue side of the map. We'll do a quick run through of our 2 rosters. As we see up in the top lane for Team Pariah, it's in Flash playing that Hecarim. In the jungle, we're going to see Nemesis playing the Elise. In the mid lane, Cutie Bacon Piggy is going to be playing with the Zed. And in the bottom lane, we have Pug and I'm Best Support playing Sivir and Alistair.
Oh, your favourite name.
He is the best, ladies and gentlemen, the best support in the world. There he is.
Well,
self-proclaimed.
I'm going to do a quick run through while they go for a sneaky invade, but they are going to be spotted out. But on the side of Gaming in Motion Black, in the top lane we have Keys playing Renekton. In the jungle we have Scudsy playing Lee Sin. In the middle lane we have Recycle on that Victor. And in the bottom lane we have Wing and Pez on Corki and Shen respectively.
Absolutely. I really feel like Wing is the kind of name that you see Korean AD carries running.
Yes.
It's like
bang and...
Yeah, exactly. These one word, like, I don't even know why or how, but it definitely feels like... Maybe it's just because of the Jin Air Green Wings.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe. But it is. If you take a look at your screens right now, a 50-50 vote. We have exactly the same amount of votes for each team heading into this first game. And we'll see who is going to be able to take it. Which side of the fans? It's obviously very split among you guys as to who wants who to win. We'll see who is going to be able to take the prize and take the first game heading into this best of 3 series. Obviously, this is a best of 3, so should this first game go south for anyone, they are going to have a little bit of leeway, but we are going to see Keys immediately starting off with that Razorbeak camp.
Yeah, so something interesting that I want to mention off the bat is that Recycle's decided not to go with armor runes. It does look like that he's going to go for HP per level and either cooldown reduction or scaling AP. I do imagine he's going to have scaling AP on his glyph. So, bit of a ballsy start is what I want to say, because I mean, not running armor against Zed is definitely a risky thing, because the moment Zed hits 6, if you don't have any armor, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. I mean, he does have the barrier, but it's definitely still a risk. So he's definitely confident on that champion. He feels safe in the matchup, and he feels that he knows how to play. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, they have hit level 2. I wonder if they're going to go a little bit aggressive.
We do see Pariah hitting level 2 at the same, or just after, so they are going to be able to at least fight back should the all-in happen. The Shadow Dash does come out from Pez, but it's not going to connect to his targets, and I'm Best Support as well, managing to miss his Q. So nothing going to happen in the bottom lane, despite everyone's best efforts.
Yeah, a bit of first game of the day syndrome, I feel, is coming on here. Maybe people a bit rusty, still waking up from their afternoon nap. We will have to see. Hopefully, as the game progresses, people's skill shots will begin to land. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we did talk briefly about how Renekton does have a very strong early game, and I wonder whether or not he'll be able to shove out Flash. At the moment, we do see Flash getting the early push, and neither top lane are really gaining any advantage this early game. Meanwhile, in the bottom,
we do see a bit of a fight going off in the bottom lane, but again, Just nobody quite able to land those skill shots.
Oh, in the mid.
Get the engaged, but talking of engaged, Scudsy's come into this mid lane, lands the Q, he's going to go for the tower dive, does pick up first blood, and he's able to flash away from the tower aggro. In the meantime, Nemesis going to repel away from the gravity field. I hope you're not afraid of spiders, because there's one jumping on your face right now, Recycle, but the red buff is not quite going to be enough to finish him. Nemesis so low. I'm best support. He's going to go for the dive though. Flashes in, throws down the ignite, but he doesn't have the damage. And Recycle just pulls 2 summoner spells out of the support, pretty much unintentionally.
Yeah, we should have a replay of that coming up on your screen just in a little while, but very early aggression coming out from Scudsy. You can see that Cutie Bacon Piggy shoved the lane up a little bit too quickly. He didn't respect the fact that Lee Sin is going to get level 3 and gank early, so really nice slow, and he manages to land the Q, and you can see that he calculated the damage fairly well, and then from Recycle, beautiful gravity field to force out the repel from Nemesis very, very early. He holds his barrier for as long as possible, and you can see here that it really pays off, because the moment Alistair comes around the corner, flash engages, immediately pops the barrier, and it keeps him alive. So very well played by Recycle, very conservative play and good use of the summoner spell. So now that's no summoners in for either mid laner, no summoners for I'm best support. Flash is down for Nemesis, flash is down for Scudsy. Meanwhile, we do have a bit more aggression in the bottom.
We do indeed. Pug already having used that spell shield. Pez has his flash available, so we could possibly see go for a very
another gank in the mid.
Engage, but in the mid lane, we do see Cutie Bacon Piggy in trouble yet again. There's the Q. Scudsy is going to be able to pick up the kill, but the cocoon is going to be there. And he gets all webbed up as he's taken down by Nemesis.
Yeah, we do see a little cheeky taunt land in the bottom lane, but nothing that's going
to... One flash, he's going to get the auto, but the heal comes out from Wing. He's going to be able to just escape from that one.
I didn't recognize how low Wing was in that small trade there, but he's now going to be forced back a little bit. He does have a small CS lead, but he's decided to play it safe and back off as Nemesis is hanging around. But yeah, this time Nemesis was on the right side of the jungle, so he was able to pick up a return kill onto Scudsy there, but really nice early aggression coming out from Scudsy. This is exactly what we were expecting. We talked about this during Champ Select, and he was the player to watch. He was a very large impact in yesterday's games, and he's already putting on a very strong performance this game. So I wonder how they'll maintain. Meanwhile, we do see 3 hanging around the middle lane.
Yeah, they're looking to sort of put this aggression that they've seen coming out of Scudsy right back at this mid lane. Trying to get Cutie Bacon Piggy back into this game. 0-2-1 on this Zed so far, and it's all down to the amount of pressure Scudsy. I mean, it's not very often that by level 5 you've been tower dived twice.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a very common statistic, but so far Cutie Bacon Piggy has been falling behind. But despite that, he's actually 7 CS ahead of his lane opponent. So excellent job, to be honest, by Cutie Bacon Piggy to still be sort of relevant in this game as Scudsy gets caught up by the cocoon. Nemesis is going to go very aggressive on this one, but Scudsy wants this fight as Pez has entered the fray, but the repel is going to dodge away from the Shadow Dash as Cutie Bacon Piggy picks up the first kill of the fight. And he's going to be happy with that one.
Yeah, so yesterday we did see Scudsy very aggressive in towards the enemy jungle, but this time he doesn't quite have the lead that he had yesterday against Critical Esports as Elise. We could definitely see that he felt confident with his 2-1 score. However, Elise had the level advantage. She also had some items of her own and was able to, return that kill. So a bit of aggression punished there, and now Cutie Bacon Piggy, without that aggression coming out from Scudsy, knowing that he's down at the moment, he can start applying the pressure. So bit of a misplay from Scudsy, bringing the early game back in the favour of Team PRA.
I feel like this is where the mid lane's really going to kick off. I mean, I know we've seen a lot of action in the mid lane already, but since they're both level 6 now, both have their ultimates, we're really going to see the point where they can actually go for these 1v1s, and we're going to find out whether Zed is going to be dead or whether Zed's going to get ahead once they both go for those ultimates. But Flash getting aggressed upon up in the top lane by Keys. He decides he does not want to go for a tower dive this early.
Yeah, so we can see Flash playing relatively passive, as you'd expect against a Renekton lane, but quite surprising to see how the lane is currently going. Flash does go a little bit aggressive, trading fairly well. Remember, he does have that ignite, so there's always that potential risk in the top lane. He does. Ooh, goes aggressive.
There's the onslaught of shadows. Keys has to use the shifting... It's not called shifting sands, but he uses his ultimate. The ignite is ticking away, but it's not quite going to be enough as Keys just manages to escape that one.
He does get the flash out of Keys, though, so very impressive. Meanwhile, Scudsy does gank Flash in the top.
He does indeed, and we do see Flash having to leave the lane. Scudsy's still only level 5, though, so not too scary on that lease in this early on in the game. He's going to have to back away from that one. Doesn't quite have the damage to finish off that giant pony.
And they are going to pick up a Drake as a result. They did notice that Scudzy was in the top lane, and they immediately reacted. They already had vision from the Scuttle Crab, and that gank in the top allowed them to get that dragon. So nice early objective.
Could well be a dive. On the hunt is going to be used. Wing already using Valkyrie, and now 4 members from Pariah are here, but the teleport from Keys is going to completely scare them all away. They decide that this is not a dive that they want to go for.
I feel like Keys should have cancelled that teleport at that point. It was definitely, they were all aware that they were disengaging from the tower dive, but now Keys is stuck in the bottom. He's just going to walk back to top lane, and it doesn't look like he's going to lose out on that CS lead that he'd managed to gain early on. So unfortunate for Keys. Now has absolutely no summoners, while Flash has the teleport advantage, and with the Drake down, they might be looking for a teleport play in the bottom lane.
They could well do so. Obviously, as you say, the Drake not going to be up for a decent while, but Scudzy is going to be up in that top lane as we see them go for the dive onto Flash. I say it's a dive. They're under their own towers, and Flash, you're running into the wrong side of the map, my friend. He's going for the teleport. Keys has his stun available, and he's not going to be able to get it. No, it timed out. And that was a beautiful play by Flash to get away from that one. Yeah,
well, good use of the teleport there. He obviously isn't going to get a teleport play bot now, but it doesn't matter because he does keep himself alive with his ultimate down. He had no other way of getting out, but he recognized that Keys had already procced the W, which meant that his stun was down, so there was no way it was going to get interrupted. Scudzy was too far away to interrupt it with his Dragon's Rage, and nice play by Flash to get out of that one.
Really well played by Flash, knowing as well, the second he saw Keys proc that W before, I think it's called Predatory Strike or something, before he went for the teleport, before he tried to escape, obviously with that on cooldown, he knew he was going to be able to get away with it. And I mean, it was a narrow escape. You saw the resonating strike land from Scudzy. Had he managed to get in range, he could have used that Dragon Rage, as you say, but he did manage to pull it off. And already this game, we're 11 minutes in, it's only 4 kills on the board, but there has been so much action from these teams.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we expected. I mean, with these type of junglers, and with the champions that they're playing, it's not that surprising. Meanwhile, all Flash from support.
Flash pulverizes Recycle. He's going to get caught up by the Deathmark. Look at the damage from the Chaos Storm, though. Cutie Bacon Biggie has to flash away, and Recycle's going to survive this one. Now, IMB support. He's going to get caught up by the Shadow Dash, but Nemesis arrives to finish him off with a Venomous Bite. Now, Scudzy trying to finish off the Alistair, but he's not going to have the damage. And Pez, you're all on your own against this Spider, and you're going to have to back away. And it's a 2-for-0 in favor of Team Pariah.
Yeah, I mean, initially, then I was going to talk about how you could see the gravity field was going to keep him completely alive, and it stops the engage from Cutie Bacon Piggy. So here you can see the Flash engage from support. Immediately the gravity field goes down, and they're both stunned up straight away. And it looks like Cutie Bacon Piggy's going to go down, but the kick actually saves him. He didn't use the resonating strike early enough, and the ultimate comes out straight away from Pez, keeping him alive. But Recycle gets picked off by Nemesis on the backline, and here, that pulverize into headbutt was so good from IMB support. And as a result, they managed to pick up 2-4-0, so very close fight, but very nice reactionary play from the side of Team Pariah, so good job for them to pick up 2 kills.
There's a reason they call him the best support, as he comes into the bottom lane and immediately gets the headbutt pulverize onto Wing, and the Boomerang Blade follow-up from Pug is going to just chunk out that Corki. Wing having a bit of a hard time, managing to stay pretty much even in CS though, so not falling too far behind. But the question is, as we head towards this mid-game, who's going to be able to hit their power spike first? Is it going to be Sivir with the Infinity Edge, or is it going to be this Corki with the Triforce? I feel like the Triforce Corki is a bigger power spike. We're going to have to see how well they use that.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I mean, with all Trinity Force champions, generally they're going to have more damage than an Infinity Edge AD carry, purely because it works so well with their skills. Meanwhile, Headbutt Pulverize does land onto Wing.
I don't think he's failed that combo yet this game. He's doing incredibly well on that Alistair.
The level 1, unfortunately.
Oh yeah. Technically, he didn't fail that combo because he didn't have his headbutt at that point.
But either way, we can put that down to first game of the day, and I feel like everybody's warmed up a little bit now.
It certainly feels like they have, as we've seen a lot of pretty impressive plays so far this game, in all honesty. Musical doing what he can in this mid lane, but he's starting to lag behind QT Bacon Piggy despite all of the early pressure Scudzy gave him on that Lee Sin. He is almost 30 CS down now, more like 25, but definitely not a great position to be in on that Victor. And 1-2-3 is the count on Zed, as he's managing to do incredibly well despite starting 0-2.
25. Struggling a bit with math this morning, are we, man?
I'm always struggling with maths, me, mate.
Nevertheless, it doesn't matter. It's absolutely fine. We do have, yeah, the thing that I'm worried about at this point is how strong Nemesis is. Umimon in the bottom lane.
Oh, a nice shadow dash there coming out from Pez. Going to deny any kind of CC from I'm best support. And I mean, this is a pretty slippery bot lane when you look at it. The shadow dash and the Valkyrie, the second anyone comes near, they're just like zipping away across the lane to safety.
That is true, and with the ultimate coming out from Pez, it's going to be very difficult to kill Wing, although it will obviously not give the biggest shield in the world. It does scale with ability power, which I imagine Pez isn't going to build any of. So it will just be reliant on the base stats, and when he hits level 16 it will be a fairly decent shield, I can obviously imagine, but it won't be quite as strong as that top lane. Meanwhile, we are going to lose the bottom tower, and oh no,
Twin Shadow Shen support, I don't know.
Oh, Twin Shadow Shen support, of course.
Meanwhile, in the mid, he's going to get caught up by the death mark, but immediately flashes over the wall, and the teleport going to come through from Keys to answer for this one. Looks like they're wanting to go for a dragon play. The flash taunt does land onto QT Bacon Piggy, and the follow-up is going to be there as he falls. And now I'm best support is in the middle of everything as Flash has teleported into the fight. The Chaos Storm is doing a lot of damage, but it's just not enough as Nemesis is onto the backline, but he doesn't have the damage to finish off that Victor. I'm best support gets caught by the Q, but he's not going to go down, and it's 3 kills coming across to Team PRA. Risicle manages to pick one up, but it's the triple kill for Flash.
What a crazy team fight. All started off by the Cocoon landing onto Risicle. He burns both of his summoners straight away. A bit premature. He didn't need to use his barrier there, but nevertheless, he does get out to safety. Meanwhile, the teleport comes in from Keys, and that really nice flash taunt from Pez was beautiful, enabling them to quickly pick off Bacon Piggy. However, the flank from Flash completely cuts off the carries, and you can see a nice ultimate that comes out from Flash that pretty much swings the fight in their favor. It forces In Motion to start running away from the fight, and while Risicle is doing as much damage as he can, he just can't hit through this front line of Team Pariah. So really well played from Team Pariah. The teleport in from Flash was absolutely crisp and really on point. So well played from them, and now 9-5 in their favor with a 4,000 gold lead. Definitely going to put them into a good position coming into this mid game.
Team Pariah managing to pull ahead on gold, and as you can see on your screens, their average gold per minute across their team members is 330, the highest of any team in this tournament so far, and you can see that really seeping through into this game. Managing to pull ahead in CS in all lanes, even the support pulling 1 CS ahead of his counterpart.
Meanwhile, in the bot.
In the bottom lane, we do see this could be lights out for Pug, as there are 3 members here. Pez going to be looking for the Shadow Dash. Is this all going to be about the spell shield? There it is, though. It's wasted, and the taunt is going to land. He's going to be going down. Scudzy happy to tank up the tower, but he gets the counter kill. And that was a beautiful play by Pug to finish off the Lee Sin.
Yeah, that was a really nice dive coming from Emotion originally. We will see that coming up on your screen now. Scudzy here, he uses the Resonating Strike to pop the spell shield. Very good decision, and he kicks him into the wall. So that was very good, but unfortunately he tanks just 1 too many tower shots. Pug uses his flash, gets that last auto attack to enable himself to pick up that kill. So they do end up trading 1 for 1, and obviously while they lose the tower, that is probably the best situation that Pug could have gotten out of that dive. So very well played by Pug there. Nice use of the Sivir mechanics, or the best that he could have gotten out of that situation.
Absolutely, managing to pick up that counter kill and turning it into a 1 for 1. As you say, in a 3 versus 1 situation, it's a pretty impressive feat. And, well, technically 3 versus 2 if you include the tower, but certainly well played by him to pull that one out of the bag. And it's certainly going to mean that he's definitely ahead of his enemy AD carry. 3-1-3 on this Sivir as we see the fight kicking off again. Scudzy going to get caught up by the death mark. The damage is going to be there, and they're going to finish him off despite the Stand United being used from Pez.
Yeah, the shield wasn't quite enough to keep him alive, unfortunately, and he did have his Dragon Rage available, but because of the hard crowd control coming out from IMB support and Nemesis in the form of his Cocoon, prevented him from actually getting off those disengaged tools. So Scudzy does lose his life, and he's now sitting at 3 and 6. So while he definitely had a strong early game, I feel that the invade that he attempted earlier on really took a hit onto his momentum, and now he's suffering as a result.
He certainly is, and we'll see if he's going to be able to pull himself back into this game. 3-6-3 on that Lee Sin, and this is uncharacteristic of Scudzy. We usually see Scudzy doing incredibly well and really snowballing the game in his team's favour. That's just not been the story of this game, as we see Recycle yet again getting jumped on by the cow. Is he going to go down? It doesn't look like it. He finally manages to get taken out. No, the shield comes through. Nemesis finally finishes him off, though. The Chaos Storm did so much damage. Look at the backline for Pariah as they jump in. Pez is going to be the next target, but he shadow dashes away. Everybody getting away on such little HP, but he finally falls, and they're going to take out the mid lane in the jungle.
Yeah, that was a really nice flank from Flash once again that enabled them to get that team fight won in their secured. You can see Recycle out of position. The On the Hunt does pop, but that beautiful gravity field again prevents them from initially picking up the kill onto Recycle. He does go down to Nemesis in the end, but watch this flank from Flash. Picks up 3 members of InMotion and enables the rest of his team to catch up and carry on with the team fight. They drop Pez thanks to the Ignite, and that ends up being a 2-for-0 in their favor. Unfortunately, they can't really take any objectives off of this, but they do managed to gain vision initially around parts of the dragon, and now with a bit of extra gold in their pocket, they will go back with a few extra items. So you can see now 2 completed items from the side of Zed with the Ghost Blade and the Blade of the Ruined King. So he's now holding 2 swords, and I imagine he's going to go for that bow and arrow next. Meanwhile, you do see the Trinity Force completed up in the top lane for Flash, so he's definitely hit his power spike, and he's going to be a massive threat for the backline of InMotion. So meanwhile, they are moving around the enemy jungle looking to contest that red buff.
They certainly are. Flash is charging around at the speed of light. Scudzy immediately runs away from that one. Does not want to get caught up by the enemy top laner. He's going to have to just run to the hills. Did manage to grab his red buff though, so he's going to be relatively happy with that one. At least he managed to pull away that objective before the enemy team managed to steal it away. But it's 1 minute on the clock until this dragon spawns, and Pariah are already all over it.
That is definitely the case. And initially we did say that this isn't the best game Scudzy's had, not like his usual performance. However, he has actually been involved in every single kill from the side of InMotion, and that to me says that Scudzy isn't necessarily having a bad game. It's just Team Pariah are responding very well to the pressure that he's trying to apply, and any sort of fight that ends up happening, it's usually Scudzy that loses his life as a result, because he's gone for quite a squishy build. He obviously rushes the Sightstone as you do typically on Lee Sin, and as a result he has no real tanky stats other than the armor coming out from his boots. But that means that come to a 1v1 against Nemesis on the Elise, really not in a great position thanks to the Runeglaive and Randuin's now completed on the side of Nemesis.
Certainly true, as the dragon is going to land onto the map, and we see immediately Team Pariah all over this one. And Gaming InMotion Black just not even wanting to contest. They give that one up for free, and that's the 3rd one of the game, as the On the Hunt is going to be used. A nice kick though by Scudzy is going to deny the engage.
Yeah, quite a lot of damage came out onto Pug there from the kick onto IMB support. But nevertheless, they are going to successfully disengage just with... Oh, Flash did actually get used from Scudzy, so no Flash insects going to be coming out from him. But they are going to start this siege on the mid lane, and as yesterday we discussed, Sivir does have quite a low auto-attack range, so sieging with a Sivir is not the easiest thing in the world, as well as an AD mid laner is just going to make it even that much harder. So really, I feel they should be getting this 1-3-1 split push off. Meanwhile, as I say that, they are just going to take this middle tower.
Yeah, and we see a bit of a battle up in this top lane. They're going to be able to get underneath this tower, though. That should get them away from this one, as we see Pez just dropped immediately by Cutie Bacon Pig. He didn't even have to use the death mark there. And now we see IMB support heading into this mid lane, but nobody's there, mate. Your team's already left. He's taking a lot of damage. That Unbreakable Will, though, is going to keep him alive for now, at least. as Reesicle trying to finish him off. The Spider has entered the fray, but the Chaos Storm gets dodged away by the Repel, and now Pug trying to do what damage he can. Bit of a late spell shield there, but he should be able to finish off the Victor. No, the Venomous Bite comes through from Nemesis to pick that one up. Can he get it? Yes, the auto attack finishes it, and that's the double kill for Pug.
Yeah, that all started with Pez trying to defend that middle tower with his Shadow Dash, but unfortunately he missed another one, put himself in a really awkward position that allowed him to eat the cocoon coming out from Nemesis. So that all started from that, and then they felt that they could engage onto the side of Team Pariah, and you saw how aggressive Reesicle was. He really was pushing himself up onto the front line. He felt like with the 2 summoner spells available to him, he would be fine, but it ended up just putting him in an awkward position, and Team Pariah turned that around, picked themselves up even more kills now, escalating their goal to a 9,000 gold lead. So Team Pariah definitely in a good position for this game 1 of this best of 3.
Yeah, absolutely. IMB support trying his best to defend this pink ward in the river. He's not quite going to be able to do it though. Does manage to take out the enemy green ward in response, but realistically, I would say he actually lost out in that support battle against Pez, so maybe Pez trying to take that title away from him, but honestly, when you're 0-1-12, despite losing a ward battle, I think you're still going for that title.
That's definitely true. Meanwhile, you do see Flash attempting to contest this blue buff, but he is going to teleport to the Baron.
He certainly is, and we see him immediately join his team as the Baron is going to get started off. Do In Motion know about this? I'm fairly sure they do now that he's thrown a ward out, but immediately the Onslaught of Shadows is going to be used onto Scudzy. He gets annihilated, and that is going to be the Baron going down. Nemesis smiting that one away, and the fight starts immediately. Reesicle going to be the second one to fall now, as Pug has used the On the Hunt. Pez trying to just distract them from the enemy team, and in fact, the surrender vote comes out at just 25 minutes into the game. What a game coming out from Team Pariah.
Yeah, definitely a strong performance coming out from them. Need to mention how impressive the performance was from Nemesis that game. He definitely played out of his socks. We do have a replay of that final team fight on screen. You can see Scudzy gets focused down immediately. They don't want to run the risk of that Baron being stolen, so immediate ultimate coming out from Flash to prevent him from jumping over the wall. And at this point, once they've collected the Baron, it's just a matter of chase, and they realize at this point that they can no longer, or they feel that they can't come back into the game with the goal differential that they are experiencing. So impressive performance definitely from Nemesis this game on that Elise. He bit of a shaky start. We saw the amount of pressure coming out from Scudzy on the Lee Sin. It was definitely looking bad for QT Bacon Piggy, but the moment Nemesis got a return kill onto Scudzy, punished him for that over-aggression, twice in fact, with the dive in the mid lane and the invade on the jungle, really got Nemesis the momentum